All right, so this is the last lesson before you take your quiz. So again, make sure you talk to your teacher about taking the quiz so that you can actually get that taken care of. Remember, if you do not tell your teacher that you need to take the quiz, then you're going to burn a lot of days because we really don't know where you are in terms of your efforts. So just make sure you communicate. But anyway, first part is muscle memory, and what I mean by muscle memory is just making sure we look at some problems that are very repetitive, that are going to be very repetitive, and then trying to take that muscle memory into tomorrow so you can at least try to use that muscle memory to your advantage. Every single time you see a problem that looks like this in your first 6, it's going to be the same thing. We are going to move this number first by using the opposite, then we're going to divide by whatever is attached to x every single time. Move this by using its opposite, then divide by that number. Move this by taking its opposite, then divide by that number. Move this by taking its opposite, then divide. Move it by taking its opposite, divide. Move it by taking its opposite and divide. Everything in solving for the most part is muscle memory, which is why as long as you've been practicing, you should be getting better because, again, it's pretty straightforward. You see plus 2, put minus 2, bring down to 3x, bring down to 6, divide by 3, and x is 2. Again, make sure you're showing the work. That's where all your points are. I know that you can do some of these in your head. Most of us are, or a lot of students are smart enough to do that stuff. But the whole thing is if you're not showing the work, then you're missing the points. And the whole purpose of this is to make so you don't have to sit through all this stuff all over again from day 1 next year. On number 2, again, you see minus 3, so you put plus 3. You bring down to 4x, you bring down to 12, you divide by 4, and x is equal to 3. That's it. So again, make sure you're copying this. Make sure you do something tonight or before you take this quiz to kind of look over that stuff so you know what you're trying to do. 2x plus 5, 9. So you want to do minus 5. Bring down the 2x. That goes away. 9 minus 5 is 4. Divide by 2. And x is equal to 2. If you don't mind, pause the video now if you haven't already worked ahead of me, and see if you can do 4, 5, and 6 on your own real quick, just to make sure you've got the right idea, because it is the same process over and over and over again. The frustration that the teachers have with students who are struggling right now is the fact that it is very repetitive, and there's really no other way to teach it outside of for you to start to do it. So just try it out and see. Should have done plus 2, 5x equals 10, divided by 5, x equals 2. Look at all these problems. They look exactly the same. There's nothing at all different. Here, minus 7, 3x comes down with 21, divided by 3, x comes down with 7. And then the last one, let's see, minus 3, so we put plus 3. You divide by 8, getting x equals 2. So that is the first type of problem. Now there is the one that you're going to see that has a negative attached. Let's say negative 2x plus 3 equals, let's say, 7. But remember, it's still the same thing. You move the 3, you bring down the negative 2x. The only difference is that you divide by a negative 2 and that your answer is going to be a negative answer. But everything else is still the same as it has been this whole time. The second section of muscle memory is still just muscle memory. It's still going to be the same thing. We're still going to move this added subtracted number, then we're going to multiply because that's being divided. We're still going to move this number, then we're going to multiply. We're going to move this number by subtracting it, then we're going to multiply. We're going to move this number by adding it, then we're going to multiply. We're going to move this number by subtracting, then we're going to multiply. We're going to move this number by adding, then we're going to multiply. Notice I've said the same thing every single time, and the only difference between this problem and this problem is that instead of multiplying, we divided because they were being multiplied. So it's still the same problem. It's the same thing. It's just got to be mastered at some point. So we put minus 1. We bring down our x over 2. We bring down our 3. You now have x divided by 2, so we need to put times 2 and bring down x is equal to 6. Here, plus 2 because you see minus 2. You bring down your x over 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. That's now dividing by 3, so we multiply by 3 on both sides. That goes away. X comes down with 9. Same thing. This is plus 2, so we put minus 2. X over 5 comes down with 4. Now that we have our 5, we're going to multiply by 5. Those two things go away, and x equals 20. Number 10, you're going to add 3 and add 3. X over 4 therefore equals 5. Now you want to get rid of the 4, so we multiply by 4, and x is equal to 20. Once again, you're getting points for every single part of this, so don't try to be slick. Just earn the points. The reason you're in this position right now is because you didn't earn enough points. So just do the job, get the points, play the game for now, and then that way after you pass this thing, you can worry about the next teacher dealing with all the stuff that you might want to argue or complain about. But just play the game for now. Here, again, -7, -7. You want to get rid of the 2, so we multiply by 2. X comes down with 6. Here, you want to get rid of that 4, so +4 +4. X over 3 equals 6. We want to get rid of the 3, so we multiply by 3, and x is equal to 18. Once again, pure muscle memory. Every single one of these problems looks the exact same. The only difference is this was a 1, that was a 2, that was a 2, this was a 3, that was a 7, that was a 4, that was a 3, a 2, a 5. So, but the steps are the exact same. So take your time, work on your muscle memory, practice this one more time, knock out this quiz, and start working your way out of here. Because again, I told you that the chapter 1 test is tough, but the chapter 2 material is definitely within your reach. If you remember this muscle memory, we said that the first thing you want to do is get rid of the fraction. So you want to get rid of this 3, which is on the bottom. So what we'll do first is multiply by 3. That makes the 3's go away, and it brings down everything else, which ends up being 2x equals 12. Now you divide by 2, getting x equals 6. Now this is not so much as repetitive as the other ones, but it's still the same thing. Same thing, you're going to get rid of this bottom number 5 by multiplying, just like you got rid of these bottom numbers by multiplying and these bottom numbers by multiplying. Nothing has really changed except for the fact that it just looks a little bit different. But again, you want to get rid of that 5, you multiply by 5, you bring down everything else. 6 times 5 is 30. You then divide by 3, getting x equals 10, and being done. Number 15, you want to get rid of this 5, so you multiply by 5, multiply by 5. These two things go away. 2x comes down with 30. You divide by 2. Half of 30 is 15. That's what divide by 2 means, is half. 16, you want to get rid of the 3, so we multiply by 3. The 3's go away. 4 and x comes down with 24. You divide by 4, you end up with x equals 6. I would say again, pause the video real quick to try number 17 and 18 just to make sure you've got the right idea, because again, it's the same exact problem. When I told you that our goal is 5 out of 7 problems, you might think, well, why don't you teach us all 7? There's no need to teach you all 7. We are focused on passing. If you wanted an A, you should have gotten an A before. We are focused on passing. If you can get 5 out of 7 of these things right, then you're probably going to be just fine by the end of chapter 3, and you're going to probably have your grade right where it's supposed to be. But again, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it's probably going to be pretty tough. But anyway, gave you a chance to work on that. If you want to pause it, go ahead if you haven't already, but I'm going to move now. We want to get rid of the 2, so we multiply by 2. The 2's go away. 5 and x comes down with 20. You then divide by 5, getting the answer of x equals 4, and that is all. Here, 2 7s x equals 4. We want to get rid of the 7, so we multiply by 7. The 7's go away. 2 and x comes down with 28. Divide by 2, which means cut it in half. If I had 28 bucks and had to split it, it would be 14 per person. So that is the muscle memory part. That's 4 of the 5 types, because I told you that we had the you had the one that looks like this. You have the one that looks like this. You have the one that looks like this with the negative, and you have the one that looks like this, which is what we just talked about. So that's 4 of them. So the 5th one is similar to the one we just did. You're still, because of the fact that this is pretty much a big fraction, we're actually going to get rid of that bottom number first. So that's why I wanted to make sure I saved it until today. We're going to get rid of this number first, just like we did with the other one where it was something over 3 or whatever. That's one value over 3. That's one value over 2. This is one value over 3. So the first thing we're going to do on this problem, which is where the muscle memory comes in, the practice comes in, is multiply by 3. Those two 3's cancel just like they did, and you bring down everything that's on the top, which is x plus 2, and you multiply 4 by 3 to get 12. Now, that says plus 2, so we put minus 2, getting the answer of x equals 10. Keep in mind, we've seen this, I think, 3 quarters in a row, so all you got to do is just make sure you tap into some of that old memory for what's going on. But again, the trick is get rid of the bottom number first in this because it's really 2 things on top of 1, so we want to get rid of the fraction first and then go from there. This is not the one where it says x over 2 minus 3, where the 3 is just kind of floating there and we get rid of it. That's different. This is x and 3 together, separated from the 2, which means the 2 must go first. So again, the way we do that is to multiply both sides by 2. That goes away. Bring down everything on the top. Don't multiply it. Don't touch it. Bring it down as is. Bring down your 10. And again, from there, follow the one-step training that we covered to start the week. Here, you want to get rid of that 3 because it's on the bottom. So we multiply by 3. We cross out our 3's. You bring down everything on the top as is. Don't touch it. 2 times 3 is 6. And the last thing you do is you get rid of plus 1 by using minus 1, getting the answer of x equals 5. Here, you're going to, again, get rid of this 2. So get rid of the 2. The 2's go away. Everything on the top comes down as is because the 2's were gone. Nothing changed on top. 3 times 2 is 6. You want to get rid of minus 1. So put plus 1. Ending up with x is equal to 7. Still kind of muscle memory. It's still very repetitive. It's still within your reach as long as you want to do it. And then the last one, again, we want to get rid of this 2, so we multiply. Bring down everything as is, so x plus 5 comes down with 6. And the last thing we do is move our plus 5 by doing minus 5, getting the answer of x is equal to 1. So that is the 5 types of questions you're going to see. And the best thing you can do right now for yourself to test yourself, because this is pretty much the 5 questions you're going to see tomorrow, is to pause the video, do the 5 questions, and then see how you did and try to figure out what you did wrong. So I'm going to wait for a second for you to pause it. Then I'm going to go ahead and work through these and send you on over to MathXL for some practice. 7 goes first. 3x comes down, equaling 3. Divide by 3, and 3 divided by 3 is not 0. If you had $3 and shared it with 3 people, everybody gets $1. Anything divided by itself is 1. 3 goes into 3 once. That's what division is. Second one, you want to move the minus 2 by using a plus 2. Now you want to get rid of the 5 by multiplying by 5. This is the second muscle memory problem that we did. This is a version of the first, but again, you just got to remember that negative doesn't really change anything. We're going to move the 5 by subtracting 5 because it says plus 5. Bring down your negative 2x, bring down your 10. Remember to divide by negative 2. Bring down your x, and because these signs are different, it means your answer is going to be negative, and then 10 divided by 2 is 5, so that is it. This is the one that we just saw where there's a fraction on the bottom that's separated from everything. Get rid of it first by multiplying by 5. Bring down the x plus 2. 5 times 3 is 15, and then do what you've been trained to do, which is if you see plus 2, put minus 2 and finish it off. And then 28, again, just like this problem here, we're going to get rid of the fraction first by multiplying by 5. These two things go away. 2 and x comes down with 10. You now divide by 2, getting the answer of x is equal to 5. Best advice, again, study this stuff, practice this stuff, take this sheet home and look at it. You don't have to even work it out. If you just look at it and mentally remember where everything came from, you'll probably be just fine. But that is, again, working off of the assumption that you've actually been practicing all week. But again, as long as you've been trying to get ready for this stuff, I think you should be decent. Again, decent doesn't mean A. Decent just means it should be better than it was for you before. And so as a result, it should at least increase your score, your grade. Remember that our goal is just to increase our grade, get it up to a 60%. That way you don't have to worry about repeating this class. That way you don't have to take this class over again. Because again, if you do have to take it over again, you'll be in with me, because I am the only teacher of this class next year. So just kind of keep that in mind if you don't want to be in this room again with me. Outside of that, I'll talk to you later, and have a good day. Good luck on that quiz.